What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out the most intense A-10 Warthog footage ever recorded. This is by Jeremiah. I will leave a link down below to the original video. We've checked out quite a few videos from Jeremiah over the time I've been here on YouTube, and it's fantastic. The channel is absolutely brilliant. Go over to their channel, give it a like, give it a subscribe. They're at 479,000 subscribers. Let's get as many people over there as we can. Let's get them to 500,000 ASAP because they deserve it. This one's a long one. It's like 24 minutes long, so sit back, relax, fill your chug. 10% off, link down below for the best drinking vessel in the world. Fantastic bit of kit. Buy once, cry once. I can't afford to buy cheap shit these days. Every time I buy something from the regular store, it falls apart after like a year. And I'm so done with that shit. I can't deal with that. And so I'm buying stuff that'll last me a lifetime, and Chug's one of them. 10% off, link down below. Ships to America. Handmade with sustainable materials. A free customization. You can get your initial on there. Look at that. It's not going to focus. It's not going to focus, guys. But it's sick. Link down below. Check out Morale as well if you haven't already. My business, if you want a healthy energy drink. All right. Other than that, we did it in 1 minute and 14. Let's go. New PB. I want to just hear it do the noise. Just do the burp. Didn't expect that in the first 10 seconds. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Target acquired. Mate, that'll hurt in the morning. Paracetamol's not going to get you through that. Do you know what I mean? Ibuprofen's not going to help you with that, mate. You might need to see a chiropractor after that.
A U.S. Air Force A-10 Warthog was
Jesus
flying
Christ.
over a firefight in Baghdad. On the ground below, U.S. forces were under intense fire from Iraqi Republican Guard units.
Yep.
But what happened next turned a standard close air support mission into one of the most harrowing missions in the A-10 Warthog's legendary history book.
Makes sense. Oh my days.
The A-10 Thunder
Holy fuck.
Vault 2, known universally as the Warthog, is without question the most survivable, deadly, and reliable close air support platform ever built.
I mean, it's a great bit of kit, isn't it?
In the 1970s to destroy Soviet armor columns in Europe, the entire aircraft was quite literally built around one gigantic gun, the GAL-8 Avenger.
Oh, look at girth on that. Look at the girth on them 7 barrels. It's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 barrels. Look at that. The length. It's not only got girth, it's got length. You know what I mean? The ultimate combination.
7-barrel 30mm cannon that fires 3,900 rounds per minute.
Jesus
and not only
Christ!
does the Avenger cannon shoot Coke bottle-sized bullets, but it's also one of the most accurate air-to-ground weapons ever made, making the Warthog not just the best option, but oftentimes the only option for danger-close air support missions. But the Warthog isn't...
Has that gun been put on any other aircraft? Has that specific gun been put on anything? Bear in mind, it's so powerful, that gun, that when it fires, it actually puts thrust back onto the aircraft, slowing the aircraft down. It's that powerful. Insane.
Just deadly, it's also built like a flying tank. Designed with titanium armor to protect the pilot, the A-10 can take quite the beating. It can fly with just
An F-35 behind him. You see that? Just over his wing?
one engine and half a wing, which comes in handy in this operation. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii, and raised in San Jose, California, Captain Kim Campbell was always driven by challenge.
Oh, we've heard the story. Is this the story of Kim Campbell? I'll listen to it again.
U.S. Air Force Academy.
Plus, it's told by someone else, so it's always nice, isn't it?
Graduating in 1997. From the very beginning, she set her sights on the cockpit. She trained at Moody Air Force Base, learning the intricacies of close air support. By 2003, she was flying missions over Iraq with the 75th Fighter Squadron. By early April 2003, Operation Iraqi Freedom had moved into its most dangerous phase, the Battle of Baghdad. U.S. forces had pushed deep into Iraqi territory, taking control of much of the countryside. But Baghdad was different. The capital was a maze of high-rises, alleyways, and entrenched Iraqi Republican Guard units. On April 5th,
It's mental when you look at footage now of Iraq, the Iraq War, on how old everything looks, the equipment and everything. Like, I remember watching this stuff when I was young, and I was like, this kit's like the next best thing. This stuff's old now. I'm turning into a boomer. I'm getting old. You know what I mean?
5th, U.S. armored columns had punched into the city center. By the 7th, they were facing
Like, when you see, like, desert camo now, it feels like a generation ago. Was it? Not really. But it does feel like that, doesn't it?
organized counterattacks. It was a battle in which air support was critical, but not every jet could fly into the thick of it. F-15s and F-16s flew at high altitude. Gunship.
Like, I remember, I know it's off tangent, off subject here. I remember when I got desert camo. I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I've got a picture on my phone of me when I was in desert camo, which I never show pictures of me in the military, do I? Which I should. But there's a picture of me when I was on ship in, I think I was in Oman somewhere. Let me see if I can find this image. I look stacked as well. I was proper hitting the gym. Absolutely massive. I don't know if I can find this image. Oh, I hope it pops up on my phone somewhere, please, because it's such a sick photo. It's not going to pop up, is it? And I was wearing the desert camo. Let me see. Oh, come on. Can I search on my phone? You can search now on phones, can't you? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Searching. I searched gun. I've got way too many images on my phone of all sorts of different stuff. I've got pictures of me mate, Jim Galvin, in Afghan as well. Shout out to Jim, you legend. Love you, man. I was in training with him. No, it's not coming up. It's such a shame. It was such a good photo of me on ship, looking absolutely stacked. But I was wearing the desert camo. That's why I wanted to bring it up. And where is it? I swear I've got it on my phone somewhere. We're proper going off course here, aren't we? But, yeah, I can't find it. What a shame. Maybe if I search camo. Ooh, quite a few pictures have come up if I search camo. Okay. Give me a sec. Lots of memes from me and the boys sending pictures to each other. There it is. There it is. So we had the desert camo. Oh my God, it's not even focusing. But now when I look at this, I'm gonna focus. There we go. Massive nipples. But I was like 19 there. But that desert camo, now that I see that, it looks old to me. When I see desert camo, it gives me that old vibe now. You don't really see it that often anymore, do you?
Couldn't always get in. The only aircraft
Proper off subject then. Sorry, guys.
that could stay low, take damage, and keep fighting was the Warthog. And one of those Warthogs, flown by Captain Kim Campbell, was about to make history. On the morning of April 7th, Campbell received her tasking, provide overhead support for advancing U.S. forces south of the Tigris River. It looked like any other standard operation. Launch, orbit, respond to calls, but those coordinates, those buildings, would place her squarely in the crosshairs of one of Baghdad's most fortified zones, making this without...
Is this the story where she has like a wing taken off and she flies back? I'm pretty sure it is.
The most dangerous mission of her extensive career. The desert sun rose over Al Jaber Air Base in Kuwait, bathing rows of camouflaged A-10s in a dusty gold. It was April 7th, 2003. Inside hardened shelters, crews prepped for a day of missions over Baghdad. For Captain Campbell, it would be her 21st combat mission since the start of Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Damn.
It started like any other mission. Campbell reviewed the tasking, loaded the coordinates, and went through the pre-flight. Everything felt routine until it wasn't. While Campbell and her wingman were still en route to a holding point, an urgent request came through. A troops in contact alert had been issued by ground units from the 3rd Infantry Division. They were taking intense fire from entrenched Republic Guard forces in southern Baghdad.
I'm going to try not to pause it too much because we want to hear this story. Imagine being boots on the ground and you come under contact and you're like, we need air support. And an A-10 turns up. Mate.
Attack came over a radio with an urgent tone. Any hog flight on station, this is chaos actual. We are under fire. Multiple RPGs. We need air on target now. Without hesitation, the two A-10s changed course and pushed north toward Baghdad's urban sprawl, where enemy forces had dug in among homes, buildings, and factories.
Scary,
As they approached
man.
Baghdad, the environment grew increasingly dangerous. The city's southern sectors were saturated with anti-aircraft artillery, man-portable air defense systems, and mobile SA-7 and SA-14 SAMs. The skies were hostile. Flying in
I don't know how, again, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pause it too much. I don't know how anyone looks at that cockpit and says, yeah, I know exactly what everything is. Like, what? Look at all them dials and shit. My monkey brain can't deal with that. I mean, there's a reason I was in the Royal Marines, right? I mean, although we're thinking soldiers, we're smart soldiers. I just don't think I'm that smart. You know what? I think it also takes a bit of intelligence to understand when you're not smart enough to do something, right? I don't think I'm necessarily switched on enough to do something like that. But I think that's also a power of mine because I know what I'm capable of. Do you know what I mean? And it's not that.
That was a completely different kind of mission. The A-10s weren't high-flying strike aircraft dropping JDAMs from high altitude. They were down low, right in the thick of the action, and well within range of enemy anti-air weapons. On the ground, the 3rd Infantry Division had become bogged down near an overpass just south of the Tigris River. Bradley IFVs and M1A1 Abrams tanks were advancing through narrow streets when enemy fire erupted from a cluster of warehouses and walled compounds. The JTAC radioed in once again. Be advised, we are danger close. Enemy firing from a rooftop 200 meters from friendlies, marking with smoke now. Stand by. The JTAC on the ground popped red smoke, trying to mark enemy positions, but winds shifted, and the smoke was quickly distorted, making visual confirmation tricky. Campbell's wingman rolled in first, strafing the target buildings with a quick burst. Campbell followed closely behind. She dived from 6,000 feet and lined up her Avenger cannon on the target. A rectangular rooftop with multiple hostiles on top. At just under 1,500 feet, she squeezed the trigger. The 30
Holy
rounds tore through not only the enemy fighters, but also the concrete, collapsing parts of the structure.
Yeah, no wonder it's collapsing part of the structure. Jesus
The
Christ.
enemy wasn't done yet. RPG fire lit up from another direction. Campbell climbed out and circled for a second run. The enemy had...
The amount of like power you must feel in your fingertips when you're firing something like that. Like obviously, what's the biggest thing I shot? I felt powerful shooting a Benelli. You know, I shot the sharpshooter 7.62. Not really, you know. I shot the minigun off the side of a ship. I've shot the auto grenade launcher. It's like a big gun grenade launcher. It's really, really cool. I've shot them. You feel quite powerful doing that. I mean, I think 7.62 is the biggest round I probably shot. But the minigun obviously just makes it feel more. And then obviously the underslung grenade, it's a grenade launcher. It's not technically. And the Benelli, I guess, you know, it's shotgun shells. So, yeah. I feel like you feel powerful doing that. Imagine how powerful you feel shooting that, an A-10. Can you imagine?
Split into smaller teams, moving through alleyways, using civilians as shields, and firing from balconies.
Oh.
A second RPG impacted near a U.S. M113 APC, disabling it. The ground troops were now pinned. As the fight dragged on, Campbell's A-10 had already fired 2 full passes. She was starting her third when things began to feel off. The winds had picked up, dust and smoke reduced visibility. The enemy was adapting, shifting firing positions. The radio crackled with a new report. A possible anti-air team was spotted moving near the highway underpass. But the Warthogs had to keep up the pressure. The troops on the ground had nowhere to go, but the Warthogs knew that every run increased their chances of being hit. Regardless, Campbell began her 4th strafing run, this time from a slightly deeper angle, designed to reach deeper into an enemy compound partially hidden behind a factory wall. She armed the gun, called in hot, and began firing.
Boom.
She could hear the power
Jesus
of the
Christ.
Avenger cannon shake the entire aircraft. and then she could see clear impact on target.
Good.
But just as she started to pull up, a missile slammed into the rear of her aircraft, striking near the vertical stabilizer. The jet rocked violently. Caution lights illuminated across the cockpit. The hydraulic systems failed instantly. The stick became sluggish and the nose dipped.
The panic she must have felt in that moment. Like pure panic.
It felt like someone had punched the airplane out of the sky. Campbell grabbed the controls. Nothing responded. The panel lit up like a Christmas tree. An enemy surface-to-air missile had hit her right tail section, shattering hydraulic lines and jamming control surfaces.
Imagine being one of the lads on the ground, actually, calling that in. Seeing them get the rounds down first and feeling, holy shit, we're actually squared away here. And then also seeing this A-10 get hit in the sky. Can you imagine what the lads are thinking? They're probably like, shit, plans change. We're probably going to have to go find this pilot in a minute that's going to have to eject. Like, imagine the stuff that's going through their head right now. That A-10's just been hit. Lads, the A-10's just been hit. We need to... Plans change. Everything's changed. It's not about getting out of here. It's about trying to find this individual now. Because that's what you do automatically. You wouldn't be like, all right, the plan's still to get the hell out of here. Every single one of them lads would be like, if that pilot's ejected, we're going after him. We're going getting him. I guarantee. Imagine the adrenaline. In fact, if you're a veteran watching this right now, is that the first thing because that's the first thing I would think. It's like, we're going to go get him. Let's go get him. I'm presuming every soldier feels that same way.
The jet immediately became unresponsive. Most pilots in this situation would eject.
Yeah.
The A-10 is just built differently, and so is this pilot. Campbell flipped the emergency switch, engaging a backup system called manual reversion. It uses steel cables to move the control surfaces without hydraulic pressure. It feels like trying to fly with a 2-ton weight on the wings. Every movement took massive physical effort. Campbell's wingman quickly called in support and stayed close. Campbell began the long flight back to base 70 miles south. Every minute in the air was a gamble. The aircraft had lost its tail controls, one engine was failing, and fuel was leaking rapidly.
Oh my God.
Campbell kept flying. As Campbell approached the airfield, she knew there would only be one chance to land. The A-10 was barely controllable, especially at low speeds. She came in higher and faster than normal, not knowing if the gear would hold or if the aircraft would roll off the runway. She touched down hard, bouncing once, but stayed upright. The entire right side of her tail was shredded. Holes riddled the fuselage, and the aircraft looked like it had been chewed by giants. But miraculously, Campbell was unharmed. For her actions that
Look
day,
at that.
Captain...
We've seen this picture before because we've heard this story before, and we've seen this particular picture before. That's mental, isn't it?
Kim Campbell was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for heroism and extraordinary achievement in aerial flight. And her story became a case study in courage, aircraft survivability, and pilot skill.
Yeah.
She later reflected that staying calm under fire wasn't about being fearless, it was about trusting her training, her aircraft, and her team. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall back on your training. Today, now Colonel Kim Campbell is a speaker, author, and example of leadership under pressure. And her A-10 battered...
I wonder what a book is. Let's have a look real quick. Kim Campbell, the name? Just Googling. Flying in the Face of Fear, the book is called. Might have to give that a read. A fighter pilot's lessons on leading with courage.
But unbroken is still a symbol of the A-10 Warthog's resilience. And if you thought Campbell's story was intense, wait until you see the cockpit footage from this next mission. On April 23rd, 2011, a U.S. Army helicopter crashed in an area swarming with armed hostiles in Kapisa Province, Afghanistan. As soon as the calls about the helicopter crash came over the radio, the 83rd Expeditionary Squadron at Bagram Airfield sent out 2 Air Force Pavehawk helicopters to respond to the crash. Their call signs were Pedro 83 and Pedro 84. Pedro 83 carried 3 pararescuemen, and Pedro 84 carried 2. Upon arrival at the crash site, the Pavehawks immediately started taking fire from the enemy. In the chaos, Pedro 83 somehow spotted one of the pilots who had crawled up onto a ridge about 300 meters uphill from the crash site. And despite small arms fire still slamming into the side of the helicopter, Pedro 83 managed to lower its 3 pararescuemen onto the ridge. Meanwhile, Pedro 84, who was also under heavy fire from the enemy, dropped its 2 pararescuemen, Staff Sergeants Zachary Clark.
We still, just before we get into this, we still need to do more videos on pararescuemen. I feel like I've touched a little bit on it, but they're so fascinating, like being the SF of the medics. I feel like it's such a fascinating branch that I want to learn more about.
And Bill Senna as close to the crash site as possible. At the crash site, the 2 PJs found that the pilot had unfortunately passed away, and they started preparing to hoist him out and into their Pavehawk. But unfortunately, the enemy wasn't going to let that happen without a fight. Right after dropping Klein and Senna on the ground, Pedro 84's flight engineer was shot in the leg.
Holy shit.
The Pavehawk had to fly back to Bagram to get him medical attention.
Holy
Enemy
shit.
fire also forced Pedro 83 to cut its hoist cable and do a daring one-wheel hover in the combat zone just to get its 3 PJs and the surviving pilot back aboard.
Oh my God.
Klein and Senna stuck on the ground in the combat zone alone with the fallen pilot. But thankfully, they weren't alone for long, as an AH-64 Apache helicopter
what an
arrived on
absolute
target and started
clusterfuck.
providing air cover.
Alright, you got him?
This is the footage?
Okay, pushing in here, that's where he's sparkling right here.
Yeah,
There they are, there they are.
Alright, was done.
There. Okay.
Yep, engage.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Firing.
Where you at?
One's still up.
Engage.
No way they survived that, surely not.
You are hitting the guys with the RPGs right now.
Holy shit.
Engage. Okay, there's one more guy down here. Okay. 30 millimeters getting shot at.
Okay, remember being young, long time ago, when Modern Warfare 1 came out, the original Modern Warfare Call of Duty 4, when it first came out, and there was that mission, the top-down mission with this kind of like infrared-looking camera. I remember playing that. This was before I was in the Royal Marines. I remember playing that and being like, whoa, there's no way this is real. Now look at this footage we're seeing. Crazy reminiscent, isn't it?
Keep looking for movement. Cobra, Slasher 02. Your range focus. Are you clear? Can we come in with a missile? No, negative. Do not shoot. You got friendlies pretty close to where the. You see where they're shooting at right now, Finesse?
There's someone there still in the bush.
Movement. Already engage. Engaging. Cobra, Slasher
Done.
02. Got him.
Done. Oh my God, he flew.
PJs
Did you see that? He literally flew. Oh my God.
Were taking cover behind some big rocks near the crash site when they noticed the fire at the crash site started spreading and getting bigger. Thankfully, Klein spotted a rocket pod that was still full of unexploded rockets attached to the side of the helicopter, and he made the very wise judgment call to get the heck away from the crash site. Thankfully, the Apache overhead was able to give them enough cover fire for them to sprint from the rocks to a nearby ravine, and as they were sprinting away from the crash site, the helicopter exploded. Thankfully, the PJs weren't wounded by the explosion, but bits of molten metal can still be found on Klein's body armor to this day. The PJs were now taking cover in the ravine, but the situation was getting worse.
And shrapnel's brutal as well. Like, if you get hit with shrapnel, it's staying there. My dad, who was in the Falklands War, still has shrapnel all over his body still. Like, he's still got, like, when he goes through airports, he still has to mention it.
Worse. Despite the Apache gunship's best efforts, the enemy was closing in on their position, and the ravine was offering them very little cover. But thankfully, the cavalry was almost there. Captain Rustin Trainham and Captain Mike
There we go.
Hilkert, both of the 74th Expeditionary Rescue Squadron, were off supporting other ground forces nearby when a call for help came over the guard frequency. Using the guard frequency is a sacred thing, a last resort, and a true sign that things are really bad and someone needs help now. So as soon as Hilkert and Trainham received the call over the guard frequency from the two PJs, they raced to their location in their A-10 Thunderbolts. As soon as the A-10s arrived on target, they began surveying the area to figure out where the PJs were located and where the enemy was located. At the same time, Hilkert began setting up airspace restrictions and communications relays to the Air Support Operations Center, the Combined Air Operations Center, and Joint Personnel Recovery Center. They also shot rockets into the valley to give Klein and Senna some breathing room, but it didn't last long.
That footage is insane. Send it. Good God. That pilot, when he's firing that, I guarantee he's just holding his breath. He's just like, guarantee it. Wow.
Despite the
No wonder they're
A-10s
cheering.
absolutely hammering the enemy for half an hour, the PJs were now pinned down by close-range heavy machine gun fire. Hilkert's A-10 was running low on fuel, so he hooked up to an aerial refueling tanker that was flying over the target location. And hooking up to a refueling tanker is not an easy task. It requires
I bet it's
a
not.
ton of skill and focus. But
When you see him flying behind them tankers to get refueled and they're like wobbling a little bit, mate, I couldn't do that. Not a chance I could do that.
didn't take Hilkert out of the fight. While he was hooking up to the refueling tanker to get more fuel, he was still marking targets just 50 meters away from Klein and Senna's position. With the enemy's exact danger close location now marked, Hilkert's wingman was able to open up with his 30mm cannons, saving Klein's and Senna's lives.
Holy
Later
shit.
that morning, a 32-man Army Quick Reaction Force landed at 2 locations on the battlefield and was immediately attacked. One soldier was killed and several more were wounded. At this
This is a hot spot. That's a hot spot. At that point, you're going to need to take a whole company out there to clear that thing. That's not something that can be done with just a troop or something.
point, Hilkert was in complete control of coordinating all air support in the area. He was marking enemy positions while simultaneously monitoring and marking the locations of one half of the QRF with his binoculars and the other with his targeting pods. To
Jesus
ensure that
Christ.
all the aircraft in the area knew exactly where the friendlies were so they could lay down fire on the enemy without risk of hitting friendlies.
That's pure flow. He's in pure flow state. That's what that would have been. He will know exactly what he's got to do. Yes, it's multitasking, but it's not really, no one really can truly multitask. It's more a case of like unconsciously being able to do something while consciously doing something else and just simultaneously kind of moving bits and bobs. You're not like thinking about two things at the same time. No one can really do that. It's more about like, you're just automatically doing this over here while you do this. It's like playing a guitar, strumming while you're doing the chords. Two different things. You're not multitasking. You're just in a complete flow state. That's what this pilot would have been in.
All in all, Hilkert used 37 different radio frequencies to coordinate 21 aircraft.
Holy
all
shit.
while flying his own aircraft and engaging enemy targets. And if that wasn't enough, when a handful of Pavehawks and Apache helicopters eventually moved in to evacuate the wounded Quick Reaction Force soldiers, Hilkert flew his A-10 between the helicopters and the enemy multiple times, drawing all of the enemy's fire onto himself and his aircraft and away from the helicopters.
Oh
And
my
thanks to his
days.
incredibly heroic actions, literally using himself and his aircraft as a shield for his teammates, the helicopters were able to evacuate the wounded soldiers. And at this point in the battle, Hilkert had been in the cockpit of his A-10 for over 10 straight hours. But thankfully,
Surely you got to take a shit, right? You got to pee. Surely. Right?
Hilkert didn't have to stay and see this mission all the way through, as Pedro 84 returned to the combat zone to pick up the 2 pararescuemen and the fallen pilot. But this time, Pedro 84 brought backup. 4 fully loaded A-10 Thunderbolts came in right behind Pedro
4 of them. You know they mean business, man. 4 A-10s.
84 to replace Hilkert.
Jesus
And
Christ.
with the A-10s completely obliterating what was left of the enemy force, Pedro 84 was able to successfully recover the pararescuemen and the
I don't know what's more powerful, a nuke or 4 A-10 Warthogs.
fallen pilot. Overall, Hilkert helped secure 2 landing zones, rescue 2 pararescuemen, recover the fallen pilot, and evacuate 32 QRF soldiers.
Wow.
And for his heroic actions that day, Hilkert was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. April 29th, 2018. A small team of Green Berets and Afghan soldiers were clearing compounds of interest in a village in Kapisa Province, Afghanistan, in hopes of disrupting Taliban networks in the area. But early in the morning on April 30th, they were attacked by 80-plus Taliban fighters who had snuck up on them and completely surrounded the village.
Jesus
The
Christ.
Taliban opened up on the Green Berets with small arms, machine gun, and rocket-propelled grenade fire. The enemy's attack was strategic and well planned. While one group battled the Americans from afar, a second group moved in close from the west and threw hand grenades over the compound walls. The Green Berets were getting absolutely hammered from all sides and were at great risk of being overrun.
Of course
But
they were.
thankfully, a pair of F-16s were
But at that point, there's not really much you can do apart from just fucking sit there and get the rounds down, is there? Like, yeah, you can call in support, but it's also not a guarantee you're going to get air support anyway. All you can do is sit there with the lads and be like, all right, if we don't just get the rounds down constantly, we ain't going home. Or we will, but it won't be living.
to bring some red-hot American justice down on the Taliban soldiers. The F-16s were the closest air support in the area, so when they got the radio call from Senior Airman Justin Prack, the Air Force Combat Controller embedded with the Green Berets in combat, they immediately responded. When the F-16s arrived on target, they found an absolute nightmare below them. Communications were initially very spotty, and in close quarters fighting, it was almost impossible to make out who was who. So Major Colony decided to kick things off by doing a few show of force passes right over the top of the enemy in order to get a better look at things and also to intimidate the enemy fighters.
Yeah, and draw some fire as well. Like, it takes a little bit of pressure off the lads as well. It also boosts the morale of the lads, right? They see that flying past, they're going to be like, let's fucking go. We got this in the bag now. Or at least that's what I'd be thinking anyway. Holy shit. That's insane. Holy shit. Wow.
The roar of the F-16's engine flying over the top of the enemy forced them all to get as low to the ground as they possibly could, as dirt and dust and debris was kicked up all over them, giving the Green Berets a little bit of breathing room. But
Hell
more
yeah.
importantly, it gave Colony a good look at the situation on the ground, and he now knew exactly where the enemy was, and more importantly, where his boys were. The two F-16s then quickly circled back around and did a few high-angle strafes with their 20mm Vulcan cannons.
I'll never get bored of hearing that. I'll never get bored of hearing that.
High-angle strafes actually allow for a better grouping of shots than low-angle strafes, and obviously that accuracy is incredibly important in a close-quarters fighting situation like this one. After just a few strafing runs with the 20mm cannons, the enemy pulled back to a nearby ridgeline, which meant they were now far enough away from the Green Berets for the F-16s to bring out the big guns. The F-16s then circled back around again and dropped multiple 500-pound GBU-38 bombs right on the heads of the enemy soldiers.
Oh my god. They're the type of stories that Do you know when lads say like, oh, you know, they miss certain parts of the military and stuff? It's seeing stuff like that and being like, we got saved that day. Imagine like you finish your patrol, you get back to the FOB or wherever it is you're staying, right? Your forward operating base, wherever you're staying at. And you just look at the lads and you're like, holy shit. We were nearly dead until that A-10 came in. Like, that's the stuff you remember forever.
Dude, 2-5 looks like good hit. Give me about 30 seconds for the dust to clear. No.
No wonder the lads are buzzing.
Destroying numerous enemy positions and sending such a powerful blast wave through the village that it blew out all the windows. The F-16s bought some time for the troops on the ground, but the crisis was far from over. Friendly forces had 8 injured soldiers who desperately needed medical evacuation.
Yeah,
but heavy enemy fire prevented
8.
any helicopters from flying in to pick them up. It was decided that the best move was for the ground troops to hunker down in a single compound on the far side of the village.
Holy
but
shit.
They would have to charge down 100 meters of open road to get there. By now, close air support helicopters
with 8 casualties as well. Good God.
Observation aircraft and aerial refueling.
That's not an easy job.
Also arrived on station, and it was Colony's job to fill them all in on what was happening. With one eye on the ground and another in the air, the pilot coordinated the busy airspace while working with Prack, the Air Force combat controller, and his wingman to set up attack runs. Each attack brought great stress and discomfort to Colony as he tried to keep track of both enemy and friendly positions while he coordinated all aerial attacks. But
saved lives. Them pilots have legit saved so many lives, haven't they?
12 straight hours of non-stop fighting, the friendly ground troops managed to get to the compound and get medevaced. One soldier, Gabriel Conde, tragically lost his life in battle, and 11 more were injured. But
11 injured?
Heck of a lot worse if Colony and his wingman had not been there. And Michael Colony,
yeah, like they probably could have all died very easily. He saved their lives.
Received the Distinguished Flying Cross.
Rightly so.
Actions that day.
Rightly so. Absolutely phenomenal video there. Brilliant video. Cannot recommend Jeremiah enough. I will leave a link down below to the original video. Stories of true heroes. I've tried my best not to pause it too much. There's not as much analysis that I can give as a boots on the ground soldier, right? But still, absolutely phenomenal. Go over to Jeremiah. Give him some subscribers. Get over there and subscribe because he deserves it. Check out Chug, 10% off link down below, and check out Morale if you haven't already. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.